Welcome back to another episode of Cooking Like Medea. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. So today we are going to make one of my favorites, and that is going to be a red velvet cake. So I'm going to take you through the entire process because, again, I've seen folks out here and they have failed miserably, and I don't want them to do that. So the prep work is number one, gonna grease your pans. I have some 8-inch pans. They're 8 inches, 9 inches, 10 inches. And I am going to spray it with my baking spray. Okay. This is what it should look like when it's finished. All sides covered. And there begins my coffin. Gonna do the other one as well. Now, can you do it the old-fashioned way? And rub it down with some oil and then take some flour. And you can, but who wants to anymore? The next thing that I want to do, because I did not want to buy a small amount of buttermilk, so I'm going to make buttermilk. So this is a cup of whole milk, and I am going to add a tablespoon. Move some of this out of the way. A tablespoon of white distilled vinegar. So to the milk, any kind of milk that you use, even if it's almond milk or something like that, you want to add some acid. So whether you add lemon juice or vinegar, you want to add that to the equation. I'm going to allow that to sit. If you look real good, you can already see that it's starting to curdle some. We'll sit that over there. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to whisk together my cake flour, my cocoa powder, my baking soda, and my salt. Gonna mix that all up after I've measured it out, and then I want to go ahead and sift it all together. I know, right? Actually, I'm gonna put it in this bowl, and then I'm gonna sift it over into the other bowl. Yeesh. Old sifter. I love it. Don't mind it. So, for my flour, it's 2 2/3 cup. There's not a 2/3 cup. There is a 1/3 cup that I'm going to use twice. I'm gonna level off with my froster. I want you guys to be able to see it all. So let me move some things out of the way. I think my setup was a little rushed this morning, so bear with me. We got big things happening today. I always like to pull out the cups that I'm using so that I don't get confused. Things happen. You turn around, you do something else. It's a big deal. I'm going to measure out the 2/3 first. And with my last cup, I'm going to show you what leveling is. Again, this is for those who do not bake. So I'm essentially using both of my measuring cups twice, my dry ingredients measuring cup. So I am going to fill the measuring cup up to capacity, even a little more just in case there's some gap on the side. And leveling simply means to take something flat and to level off that cup. That's leveling. Not too serious, but that's all it is, in case you've ever wondered or you saw a recipe and it said leveling off. That is all that means. So I have my 2 2/3 cups of cake flour. Now I'm going to do 1/4 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. And again, we are leveling off. Now, the unsweetened cocoa powder does not give you a dark, rich, robust flavor of chocolate. It gives you what I like to call a hint, just a hint of chocolate. Measuring spoons, I need 1 teaspoon of baking soda, leveled off again, and I'm also going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Okay, just regular table salt. Let's check out and see what probably not a good idea to pour it over there because you don't want a salty cake. So there's that. I'm going to whisk this all together so that it's mixed. And this will be what I will be sifting to get out any extra lumps and bumps and such. See that? And I'll be pouring it into our sifter. But prior to that, I want to do my 1/2 cup of unsalted butter. And what am I going to do with that? You guys know the routine. We are going to make sure that that butter is creamed properly. Meaning that we're putting that butter and sugar together. half a cup, one stick goes together. Now we're going to add up our sugar. So it's 1 3/4 of a cup of granulated sugar. Take a look at our buttermilk. And guess what? It smells like buttermilk. It's coagulating like buttermilk. Mm-hmm. So some of these things I explain the way that I do because as I'm talking to people about cooking and baking, I realize that I can't assume that anybody knows everything. So we're doing 1 3/4. There's no such thing as a 3/4 cup. It's a 1/4 cup 3 times. That's pretty simple for baking. And again, not assuming that people are not smart, but people don't know. And so we want to make sure that they know everything that they need to know. Okay. That's also done. While this is going, I'm going to start sifting my flour. Makes it so fine. And sifting gives it that air so that it's light and fluffy. I know I have an old-fashioned sifter. There's so many nice new ones, but I love this thing. The recipe calls for the butter and sugar to mix for a good 4 to 5 minutes, which allows me to kill 2 birds with one stone. If you don't have a sifter, you can use a strainer. And I'll show you what that is also. Awesome. Good deal. So we see, and I can barely hear the sugar anymore, which is a good thing. So now I'm going to add the eggs to the mix. And it's just two for this. They are room temperature. And it is giving me life. Now we're going to mix in a half a cup of vegetable oil. So you can do this one of two ways. I like to mix the wet ingredients against the dry ingredients. I'm mixing it in with my buttermilk. Two teaspoons of vanilla. I don't mind if I get a little extra vanilla in there. And 1 teaspoon of some more of the vinegar. So all of that, I'm going to add my ounce of red food coloring. And we're going to go back and forth between the dry ingredients and the wet ones. I prefer the liquid food coloring, but you know the stores after the holiday or right before the holiday, it's just kind of barren in the land, you know? All right. So now the magic is, and we're going to alternate. See that? This is how we make the magic happen. Making magic. I always want to take the time to scrape the side. Whoa. I always got some kind of bleacher happening, don't it? Let's get this off. Because we don't have to pour anything else in it. Scraping the sides. Getting anything and everything off the side. Now I'm going to turn it up a little bit. That helps in the middle of the beater to blend some more. If you know my house, then you know I have to save the beaters. Someone also asked to see me pour in the pans, so we're going to do that too. Can't toss that away. You all know why. The boy is home. Okay. You got to eyeball it to make sure that it's evenly distributed. I got a little bit more left, but let's move it around. Let's do what we do. Some say to put parchment paper on the bottom. My cake pans are great. I really don't have to do that. Now, here's another tip. No jumping and running loud music while you're baking. It will absolutely destroy your cake from rising. We'll be back. All right, welcome back. We're making the frosting now. So it is cream cheese, butter, both softened, so they were left out, and um, powdered sugar, also known as confection sugar. Gonna mix that together. And then I'm gonna add some vanilla. Pretty simple. All right, now I'm gonna turn it up some. So instead of buying those frostings in the store, again, thinking about additives and preservatives and such, you can do it yourself and you can see what was added. Very simple. And that's pretty much done. The only thing left is for the cake to come out in a few minutes. I'm going to sit it here so that it can um, cool, and then I'm going to show you how to level it off and frost it. You'll never want to frost the cake warm. Your icing will absolutely melt. But that's all to frosting. All right, y'all. Everything is cool. Now, leveling. Let's talk about that. Very simply, I'm going to cut a piece of this top off of both so that they can be the same size. Because we both know how when things bake, they don't necessarily bake evenly. Go figure. In a perfect world, it does. In the real world, it does not. And that is why you see cakes that are moving all around, or they're not even. They're, uh, and they don't fit on top of each other properly. So I use this as my leveling off so that my cakes will be the same size. So now you know the secret to that. Okay. I always take that piece off and I either save it or use it as a test cake just to make sure everything is all right. But there's my cake. I put a little frosting at the bottom of whatever dish you're going to use to keep it still. They have all kinds of little devices that you can use, but leveling it off on the top of your cake pan is probably the easiest. So let's get it going. Okay, we see that? I'm going to take this other one. I'm going to lay it right on top. My son does not like pecans on his. So another ingenious thing you can do is take the crumbs, if you want to decorate it some. Put it right on top. The other thing is there is a turntable. You can turn it on your turntable if you like, or you can use whatever dish like I'm doing and just turn it. And also make sure that it's even. Okay. Now you see how the cake is not lopsided? If I really want to get more fancy, I could pipe on the top. But you can see that's about it. Now see that? Like I said, you could take some of the topping if you wanted to. And put it across the top. I'm just crumbling up. Y'all see that? That's how that is done. Not a requirement. Just wanted you to see some of your options here. All set. Again, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you for joining Cooking Like Medea.